Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat?
Saints coverage with some Mad Libs mixed in.
Why don't you just go by Mike?
It's time to talk black and gold with Mike Triplett of New Orleans Football. Presented by Benny's Car Wash. Family owned and operated since 1951.
All right, countdown to kickoff. Saints and Rams are about 2 hours away. They're out in SoFi in L.A. We're here in downtown Baton Rouge. Mike Triplett is with us. How are you, man?
Doing good. How are you, Matt?
I'm doing really well. I ask you some form or fashion of this question each week, or at least have the past several weeks. How close to a must-win is this without being a literal must-win for the Saints?
A little further away than some of the other ones. I think this is the toughest game maybe on the schedule. They beat Tampa and Atlanta. They could theoretically still win the NFC South. So it's not as must win as some of the other games in that sense, like home against Carolina was a couple weeks ago. But it's obviously really important. I mean, they're not just trying to mathematically get into the playoffs. They're trying to believe in what they can be. And I think they finally, maybe for the first time all season, have maybe probably since week 2, I would say, since they started 2-0, they have a little momentum going here. They just played their best game of the season, and I think it's important for them to prove that was real. So it would take a lot of wind out of the sails if they just went out and followed up with a club.
But Mike, as you and I have talked about all year, or actually for the last 3 seasons, that's what bad teams do. It's one step forward, 2 steps back. So now it's 2 steps forward. How much of the success in beating the Panthers and the Giants was the fact that you were playing the Panthers and the Giants, and how much of it is this team is actually improving, which teams are allowed to do?
Yeah, Panthers and Giants are 2 different answers. Panthers game felt like a loss to me. I thought they played pretty lousy in that game, and they only won because they were playing a team that was begging them to take it from them. The Giants game, I thought they looked really good. I think they would have beaten some good teams the way they played. I think it's the best they looked all season. They did it with some key players out. And they got off to a fast start. They scored in the red zone. I mean, they just went down the laundry list of all the things that they haven't been able to do this season. And they proved that they have a higher ceiling than what they showed earlier this year. So that game meant a lot, but it was 1 week. And I had been saying all year, we hadn't seen that this year, but we've seen it in the past. We saw it last year. We saw it against the Rams last year. We saw it against the Raiders last year. We saw those glimpses, but what we've never seen, really, including Sean Payton's last year, what we haven't seen from this team since 2019 is any form of consistency.
Yeah. Are you glad that they're going color rush and ditching those awful black helmets?
I didn't even put 2 and 2 together on that.
Oh, yeah.
I think the black helmets would be sharp without the stickers, but I would love to see the white helmets with the color rush.
White helmets, huh?
Like, what if you're going to wear them with the color rush? The black helmets without the stickers with the all blacks might look cool, though. I wouldn't hate that. I don't hate the idea of a black helmet.
Yeah. I tend to agree that I don't hate the idea of a black helmet. They took what could be a good idea conceptually and ruined it with their execution, no doubt. But what if we just matched up? Sure.
Are we talking about the team again now, or are we talking about the helmet? Yes. In totality. But what if we went ahead and matched up the old gold, and so you had the old gold numeral and the old gold helmet? I'm a little tired of like the 3 different golds, that none of them are the same.
Right.
But if you could get all the golds the same, maybe. I can't decide if I like those pants I can't decide if I like the throwback pants. I think they look good on the jersey numbers. I don't know if I like it's a little mustardy. It's a hair mustardy.
Okay. You're right. They are all different shades of gold, but if they would rock the color rush gold with the pants, the helmet match that is sharp. It would be awesome.
Sold. Sure.
They have such an opportunity, Mike, but they just can't execute. I don't understand why. We do fashion here as well as football. Hey, bigger deal today. Mike Triplett's with us, NewOrleans.football. He's on Twitter at Mike Triplett. Ryan Ramczyk out, Chris Olave in. Which is the bigger news?
That's a good question. That's a really good question because I wouldn't want to shortchange either guy. But I would say under the circumstances, the other 4 offensive linemen all healthy. Landon Young played really good last week, and Ryan Ramczyk dealing with this nagging injury. I feel like the drop-off is a little less there. I think Chris Olave is so essential on a team that doesn't have Michael Thomas while he's on injured reserve. And he has really been coming on so strong lately. To have him as the number one and make all those other pass catchers complimentary guys feels like a bigger deal. I think I'd prefer Olave if you told me I can only have one up.
Okay, so give me a sense of what a realistic expectation is for Olave in this game tonight. How close is he to 100%, or what could he give you?
Yeah, I mean, it's so tough for me to know medically, but I think it's a good sign that they said part of the reason he didn't play Sunday is because they wanted to have him ready, 4 days later. We had heard as early as, I'm getting my days confused, I think Monday, that everybody was confident he was going to be able to play. By Tuesday, he was a full participant, no injury status. So that makes me feel like, this isn't like game time decision, limited snap count, 50-50. It feels about as close as you could hope it would be. And he's been coming on so strong lately. I think him and Derek Carr showed their best rapport right before the injury. So I think there's reason to be confident he can have a big impact in this game.
I know you don't cover the Rams, but you have looked at this matchup. Where do you think is the greater challenge for New Orleans? Is it getting the offense going against that Rams defense, or is it the Saints defense, which has played well, trying to limit a Rams offense, which has similarly played well in the last month?
No, that's another tough question. I mean, I think the toughest test is going against Aaron Donald, because I think the Saints offensive line, to me, I mean, we've talked about Dennis Allen, we've talked about Pete Carmichael, we've talked about Derek Carr, but beyond that, man, this offensive line just hasn't quite gotten there. It's another thing we've seen in glimpses, but even these last couple wins, I wanted to see one of those. Hey, we're just dominating, we're just imposing our will. They're close, but I think this is just going to be such a tough team for them to do that against. If they win that matchup, that would be great. On the other side of the ball, look, these Matthew Stafford's the best quarterback they maybe have faced all year. If it wasn't Trevor Lawrence or Jared Goff, they have not faced a duo like Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. But I think the Saints' pass defense is the strength of their team. I actually think Kyron Williams, is he a second-year guy who kind of came out of nowhere? I'm actually a little bit more worried about their ability to stop him, to be honest.
I like Kyron Williams coming out of Notre Dame. I kind of was pushing for the Saints to draft him, similar to the way they did Kendre Miller. Just a similar stylistically player with the Saints like a lot. So there is some familiarity, at least with the style. But so you mentioned with obviously Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, the challenge there. No Marshawn Lattimore. How do you think the Saints secondary matches up there with the way? I mean, Paulson Adebo is having a really good year.
Yeah, I think Paulson Adebo has legitimate, I think he should be Pro Bowl consideration. He's been really that good. And then I think Isaac Yiadom, who I just wrote a feature on this year, he looks like he belongs as a starter in the NFL. Maybe not an exceptional, but the drop-off has not been that bad. I really trust those guys on the outside. They're not getting beat by receivers on the outside. They're not getting beat over the top by quarterbacks this year. I do worry a lot more about Alontae Taylor getting picked on in the middle, especially with Cooper Kupp, though. I think that's the toughest part of that matchup. Mike
Triplett with us on Twitter at Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football. Of course, our chats with Mike every week are brought to you by Benny's Car Wash. Visit Benny'sCarWash.com. That's Benny'sCarWash.com. Okay, Mike, as we look at this game tonight, where is the key matchup that at the end of the game you'll look at the box score and say, all right, that's the thing that's important as it dictates the game?
It's so boring. But I think whichever team can actually run the ball better. I really wish that was a feature that the Saints had consistently, that they could start running the ball and finish running the ball. And we haven't seen that a lot. And I worry that the Rams might be, the way Kyron Williams has been playing, that might be something they're able to do. So even though we've got a lot of, we've got Olave, we've got Puka, we've got Cooper Kupp. I think this is especially on a short week, who wins at the line of scrimmage game.
Now, I'm glad you brought up being that it's a short week, because you typically have certain nuggets stored in the back of your brain somewhere about spots and situations. And The Saints going on the road here on a short week. What's your feeling about this team, Dennis Allen, all that, just with the short week and the quick turnaround on the road?
First of all, I hate it. I hate it for any team. When the schedule comes out, the first thing I always look at is, are they traveling across the country in a short week at any point? That's terrible. Like, making any team go 2 time zones on a Thursday night, I think should be out. I mean, Thursday night football already gets enough criticism.
Yeah.
There should be a rule that you stay in your own time zone for Thursday night football. I think this is ridiculous. I mean, they could use it for a rallying cry, though. Backs against the wall. They were a 5-7 team. Now they get 2 days of walkthrough practice. And they're on a plane to LA together. So adrenaline and momentum can carry through that. But you would much rather be the home team in a game like this.
Do you have a feeling on which way it goes tonight? I mean, are the Saints looking at a spot where they could go and pull the upset on the road?
Yeah, I'm a tiny bit torn. I mean, I think this is the easiest game to pick the opponent almost all year. I think the Rams have looked really good lately. Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp are back to being Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp. So even though they're a 7-7 team, they've been way better than that recently. So I hate the matchup. I hate the short week flying across the country. It makes it really hard to pick the Saints. But I do think that we're seeing the best version of the Saints we've seen all season right now. So fighting chance, but hard to pick them to win.
What did you think about DA getting a little salty about Derek Carr after the game on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, I don't love it, but touche. I mean, Derek Carr was up against the ropes from us, from the fans, and he punched his way out of it. So they deserve to feel good about that.
Yeah, you should. The 10-year vet.
I mean, the only thing I don't love is pretending like it's a media-driven creation that Derek Carr was struggling. Derek Carr was struggling, but really kudos to him the way he's fought through it.
Sure. I'm going to back pat and victory lap over a 218-yard performance from a 10-year vet. Maybe says a little more about the season he's having. Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football on Twitter at Mike Triplett. Good enough to join us every Thursday here during the Saints season. Of course, our chats are brought to you by Benny's Car Wash. Visit bennyscarwash.com. Give the gift of clean, bennyscarwash.com. Thanks, man. We appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.